Okay, I want to give you guys an example of what a tree properly cleared for brush season looks like. If you look around the base of this tree, almost all of the underlying vegetation has been removed. That's gonna, any fire that comes through here is gonna smolder. It's gonna smolder all through here. The chances of it catching the canopy on fire are going to be fairly low. And what's nice about doing trees this way, you still get a nice shade canopy for all of your wildlife. You still get the aesthetic value of the tree. Really what you would like to see when you get into some of these big trees and brush. The smaller ones you want to take down. You know, again, what I'm pointing to is some sage. That's been taken down to about a foot and a half off the ground. This larger shrub, everything below 4 foot, has been cleared back. So again, that's not to say this isn't going to burn. If you get a big enough fire, you know, all bets are off. But what happens is a fire hits this cleared area, it's just going to smolder through this underbrush. It's still going to advance, but that's going to take a significant amount of heat out of the fire. Let me pan over here. So this is a good tree. And if you pan over here, you can see there's several trees. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, probably a dozen trees over here. There's probably a dozen trees over here. Let me get a little closer with the camera. So you can see here, these quite a few trees. I put some of these at about 20 foot tall. The problem is you have this, I mean, from a fire perspective, this is one solid vegetative mass. So if you get a low smoldering fire, it's going to hit this area, it's going to start ramping up, it's going to get into your tree canopy. A little bit of wind, and that's pushing sparks pretty far. You're going to have a very significant amount of heat. I'm going to get my hedge clippers, and the goal is I need to get this area looking like the tree that we just looked at, and that's going to be pretty aggressive because these have been growing. Made some good progress getting some of these laurel sumac thinned out. Hopefully you saw down here. All right, this is all the deadfall that had been sitting under those trees. Again, this is yeah, that's pretty sizable. Got 1, 2, 3, all these branches. You know, a fire comes through there and you have that deadfall sitting under there, it's going to be real bad news. I still need to thin this out more, and this is probably to the point we're gonna need to get a chainsaw in here and aggressively trim a couple of these back. But the hedge clipper attachment, I think, has exceeded my expectations. Yeah, that's one reason this place in the property was so bad, is I just did not have the right tools. You know, you can come down here with a pair of loppers and a wood chipper, but that takes a god awful amount of time. You can get some of the new growth with the trimmer line, but again, you start at a certain point eating through the trimmer line. So those hedge clippers seem to be just about the right balance of being able to get some of the thick stuff. So I think, you know, I got a lot of that knocked down. You can see here, I'll come through with just the regular trimmer line. I'll mulch this area down a little more. If it can get thinned out and spread out enough, I'll be pretty happy with that. If not, I'll come down here with the rake and get some of the bigger pieces put up in a brush bin. You know, something like this tree, this branch, that's where I'm gonna have to come down with the chainsaw and loppers and cut this back. This, it's a full-grown branch, but just the way it grew, I think we had real heavy winds that blew some of this tree over. That's what had produced some of that deadfall, because it had split those at the base. You know, but some of these have held on and have regrown. From a fire perspective, I cannot, it's not worth the risk of having something that's touching the ground. I really need to get rid of this branch and get these trees up a little higher off the ground. So I'm gonna call it a wrap for a little bit. Thank you guys for watching.